Well, he's done it again, hasn't he, the President of the United States, caused shockwaves, not particularly to Miriam and I, has to be said, because when he speaks, he likes to cause shockwaves, but you could see the faces of those grey men and women at the UN General Assembly. They didn't like it, as he effectively told them that their countries were going to hell.
When your prisons are filled with so-called asylum seekers who repaid kindness, and that's what they did, they repaid kindness with crime. It's time to end the failed experiment of open borders. You have to end it now. See, I can tell you, I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell.
Well, the president didn't stop there. He took the opportunity to take further swipes at his old enemy, the mayor of London, Sadiq Khan. And he also toughened his stance on Moscow, telling Ukraine to shoot down Russian planes if they get too close. Well, we're now joined by GB News political editor Christopher Hope. Now, Chopper, we could make a whole podcast just on that speech yesterday. There was so much in it, so many different sources of offence to European leaders. What do you think European leaders, the UN, will take away from his outburst?
I think the biggest thing is probably saying shoot down Russian jets. That matters, and that suggests US support for any military action. Of course, the incursion in Estonia airspace for a few seconds last week is a warning to Putin, and they even met Volodymyr Zelensky on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in New York. Clearly that went very well, and it looks like Trump's coming round to a position where Europe is, and that's a good thing.
That's a dramatic change.
That is a big deal.
When he spoke to Zelensky in the Oval Office, was it February this year?
He's come round to a position where we all are, I think, as a country, supporting Ukraine as best we can on a national footing. The attack on Sadiq Khan, I mean, this goes back to the Trump blimp back in 2017 when he came then. I mean, it's a bit of handbags. It's a no-cost row. It's not going to damage a special relationship.
Very entertaining.
He's the most senior elected Labour politician outside of the government. He won't damage Keir Starmer. Wes Streeting's piled in saying Sadiq Khan is not trying to impose Sharia law in London, in case we've got any doubt of that. Rosina Allen Khan calling for Warren Stevens, the US ambassador, to be called to account. And earlier, Pat McFadden, who, of course, the old warhorse now in charge of work and pensions, he told us this.
London, our capital city, is a great place. It's known around the world. We have British law here at Selhurst Park this morning, no other kind of law, and that's what applies in our capital city and throughout our country.
OK, there's Pat McFadden earlier. The irony for me, of course, I was yesterday in Bournemouth at the Lib Dem conference. They started 10 minutes late, and I'm saying, guys, Trump's up very soon. And then as soon as Trump pops up, news channels, including GB News, go straight to him for that electric speech. And all of the attacks on Trump, which you heard from Ed Davey, weren't heard outside of the hall. To remind you, on Trump, he mentioned him 11 times. Trump's America. Farage has Britain 10 times. Trump got 24 mentions in the conference speech. Nigel Farage 30 times. Have a guess how many Kevin Badenoch got?
None? One?
One. No. Keir Starmer?
5.
0.
No.
So you've got this Lib Dem leader trying to have a tilt at the main. What is he up to? He's trying to win over One Nation Tories leaving the Tory party and attacking Trump and Farage over and over and over again. And then, of course, the irony is that Trump big-footed his big speech.
Yeah. Certainly did.
They're in a very strange position electorally, the Lib Dems. They got fewer votes than Reform, but many, many times more seats.
72.
But
imagine if they backed PR. Imagine they supported proportional representation to stop that happening. Yes. Imagine if that happened.
Well, indeed, but after the next election, it's quite possible that they may hold the balance of power, potentially. They could form a coalition with Labour if Reform don't get enough seats.
That just wasn't denied, Miriam. So we would say, we asked Ed Davey on my interview with Ed Davey, and normally, as a political editor, I interview all the party leaders. We'll see what happens next week with Labour, but so far that's happened so far. But I asked him, would you do a deal to keep out Farage? And of course, even despite all that awful memory of the coalition 2010-2015, he talked about national interest, not ruling it out. But we have got a clip.
And don't forget, Ed Davey rather enjoyed being a cabinet minister.
Didn't he? Yes. Apart from the post office issue. Let's move on from that.
Quite.
But let's have a quick clip of how many times, or let's see the repetitive nature of the word Farage from the lips of the Lib Dem leader.
Farage, Nigel Farage, Nigel Farage, Farage, Nigel Farage, Farage.
That is just a clip, a small amount of Farage's emerging from the
shows
lips.
again and again how Nigel Farage is dominating and setting the political agenda.
Living rent-free in their brains
Absolutely.
with 5 MPs.
And also, the left love to claim that the right are always fear-mongering. But that was pure fear-mongering. The kind of allegations he made about a reform government, there are plenty of things that surely he can criticise them on, but the things that he chose to claim, that they would reform gun laws, that are just completely baseless.
Talking about that we would have American-style school massacres here.
Yes.
If Nigel Farage is Prime Minister.
And saying that, because of Farage, schools will have to practice lockdown drills. They already do that. They've been doing that for years. Does he not know that?
So he said, don't let Trump's America become Farage's Britain. They want gun laws rolled back so schools have to teach our children what to do in a case of mass shooting.
But they do this already, every
Reforms
year.
say that's not the intention of the policy. I should say that back in 2014, Nigel Farage did attack the gun laws and said they should be looked at again. So it is based on something he did say in the past.
It was 11 years ago.
But to be fair to Lib Dems, we had criticised them for their U-turn on tuition fees, and that was 15 years ago. And these MPs, particularly ones who haven't been vetted properly or looked at properly, I would say, and that includes Farage, need to stand by their record and clarify what they mean. That's all he's doing.
I remember pointing out that Liz Truss, when she spoke at a Lib Dem conference as a student, called for the abolition of the monarchy.
And I bet you raised that 20 years later somewhere.
I did.
There we go.
So there we are. Yeah, so
Well,
I
I think politicians, of course, should be held to account for their record, but they should also be able to change their mind. But to make a claim that a Farage government would do this to gun laws when Farage made a private comment about his view on licensing is slightly stretching.
It wasn't private, it was in The Guardian, it was reported.
No, but as in, he wasn't making that claim as the leader of Reform UK, which did not even exist in 2014.
A different party called UKIP.
Yeah.
Well...
and we've got Labour conference. Is Morgan McSweeney going to be a big issue still for Starmer by the time he gets to Liverpool?
Hasn't gone away.
McSweeney will go with him.
It's the front page of a newspaper today about this. It goes back to his time at Labour Together. There's leaked emails the Daily Mail has seen from a lawyer suggesting it can be brushed away, the issue of not declaring donations as an admin issue. Labour say clearly it was looked at by the Electoral Commission, so it's all moved on.
What they didn't know about the...
No, the email is new, and I think the Tories are the Tory chairman, Kevin Hollinrake, moments ago, is planning more revelations today. This could become an issue dogging the party into the conference.
And very quickly, very important question. You are a political party junkie. Which party's members are the best dressed?
Oh, I think Labour are quite smart now. It used to be cardigans in the Corbyn era, but they put on a suit for government, look quite smart. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Were there many sandals at the Lib Dem conference?
There's a few, there's a few holdalls, a few, the odd sandal. But I think the Lib Dems...
You have to have sandals at a Lib Dem conference.
We're a democracy, Andrew. Can't they exist?
I do think
you
can tell the party that someone belongs to by how they dress, definitely.
Yes. Or how serious they are about getting in government. That's the point.
That's also
That's
true.
the point.
Yeah.